changing. They keep changing their mind about what they want you to do, what they want you to be. I remember being 16, 17, telling my dad I wanted to study sociology. He's like, sociology? That's not a career. So I went on to practice law, which is one of the 3 or 4 choices you're given as an African child. You can be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer, and I chose lawyer. I also remember on excellence being in the 7th grade and being so proud because I got 8 A's and 1 B. And coming home to show my dad my report card. My dad looks at the report card and is angry. And he says to me, if you could get 8 A's, you could certainly get 9 A's. I was like, Dad. He's like, it's like 88%. I'm like, the math doesn't work that way, but I couldn't explain. So excellence is a virtue that is admired everywhere, but African parents seem to have their own special way of thinking about it. I've had the pleasure of meeting so many wonderful Wesley graduates, and one thing I will say is that you're very consistent in the product that you deliver. So much so that I've considered sending my daughter there. I have one of my best friends at Goldman Sachs is Nikki Quarmine. I'm sure some of you know her. And Nikki is an engineer. She studied engineering in undergrad. She got a master's degree in engineering. Then she got her MBA. She's working at Goldman even while she got her MBA. Then I remember her coming up to my office one day and telling me that she was going to study for her CFA. I was like, Nikki, go back to your desk and study the markets. You've been educated enough. So I don't know what they do at Wesley Girls that makes everyone have this thirst for learning and excellence in the way that you have it, but it's a wonderful trait, and it's almost unstoppable, as was the case with Nikki. So I want to just say, what do you do after you have created this system for producing wonderful women? What can we do beyond getting a CFA? Let's talk about my second theme, community. When we study successful communities, they present a unified front, and they have a true sense of looking out for each other. This is one of my greatest aspirations for us as a community. We often use the phrase, it takes a village. Now, for many of us, that phrase is just a license for your random aunties and uncles to beat you with your parents' permission. But what it actually should be is the positive traits that you bring together, raising all of your children and your family and your community with the unique talents that everyone has. And this is how I like to think about my role at Goldman Sachs and how I like to think about the community of people that I work with. This summer, we have over 20 interns at Goldman Sachs who are from Ghana and Nigeria. And we're very proud of that. We're taking good care of them. They're here in London. Many of us collectively, we share our advice with this group of interns, and we try to impart our knowledge on them. About 10 years ago, when we had Africans at Goldman, they didn't have that same community today to lift those up. I would say that even for those of us who are seasoned at Goldman, we still need advice. We're in a community that tells each other the truth. Whether it's easy to hear or not, we are well known for sharing the feedback. What is polite is not always what's right. I have an African friend who was recently promoted to managing director. So one casual Friday, I saw him pass by my office, which has a glass door, and his clothes looked like he was taking the casual to casual. So I asked him to come by. And he looked at me nervously, and when he got to my door, I said, so if our CEO, Lloyd Blankfein, wanted you to meet with him today, could you go into his office wearing what you have on right now? It was obviously a rhetorical question. So he left my office, head down, and went and huddled with another group of friends, worried about my feedback. He told me later he even considered going to buy new clothes over lunchtime. But his friends assured him that he could make it through the day and that I probably wouldn't see him again. And so he went home and just dressed better every Friday going forward from there. But I learned soon after that they have a term of art for me. And when I yell at them, they call it getting opoku'd. So I was at first very appalled by the fact that they came up with a term of art for me. But now I accept it. Because one of the greatest lessons I've learned is that only people who love you give you feedback. It starts with your parents. Say please, Say thank you. Stand up straight. Wash your hands. You need to study harder. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Every piece of feedback is given to you in order to make you a better person. So we need to receive it as such. More importantly for us as adults, we need to realize that we still need feedback, and we have the opportunity to be better if we're willing to listen. This is exactly what the continuing professional development is all about. I strongly believe that until we're able to find effective ways of sharing information with each other, helping each other at the next level, we will never advance. We will attain irreversible success when we're unified. Be sure that when you're going on vacation, the ticket you book is from a Wesley Girls alumni who owns a travel agency. When you cater, make sure it's from a restaurant that one of your classmates or neighbors started. You need to genuinely want your friends, neighbors, and classmates to be as successful as you are, for their children to exceed the achievements of your own. With that comes my last point. With excellence in community comes the responsibility to use your voice. We live in a world where change happens for good when people speak out with conviction. Think of the Me Too movement